Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, August the 18th. It is 9:01. It's so lovely to see all your happy, shining faces. For those of you whose faces I can't see, I would love to see them. Do turn your cameras on. We don't care what you look like. Showered, not showered, coffee, no coffee. It's all good. We love you either way. So let's get started this morning with a quick fun video. Hey, look, there's the Lees. I think they're like in the Bahamas or something like that. Yeah, I think so. Well, happy Bahamas Day, David and Lisa. We hope things are going well there. Just wanted to, and thank you for jumping in while you're off on your vacation. We love you for that. So let's get started with a quick video. Wanted to share this with you. I don't have one of these in my house. And I think I now know why I don't have one of these in my house.
Hey, Twitch, I want to show everybody what the kids are doing at your house that you posted. Okay. This was hilarious.
Hey, Alexa, play Alexa. Hey, Alexa, play 3005 by Childish Gambino. Hey, Alexa. Hey, Alexa.
Oh. Just like they just, first of all, sibling rivalry is like such a thing. And then secondly, like, it's kind of cool. We can just call out to Alexa and be like, but when that goes unchecked, that's my house right now. I'm glad to be here right now. Like, that's probably happening at my home right now.
He's getting so big, and Wesley too. I didn't even recognize Wesley.
Absolutely.
But your video made me think there's got to be other kids out there using Alexa, and there are. I found 3. Yeah. In the entire world, it's
3.
But it's adorable. Look at this one. All right. I know people are like, wait a minute, you can use Alexa to order a man? Convenient. Here's another kid talking to Alexa.
Is that Alexa?
Oh.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I lost my Spider-Man toy. Alexa, do you have a toy for me?
Are you trying to shop for toy?
Yeah.
Based on your order history, I found Munchkin Fish and Bath Toy. It's $7.73 with delivery by May 27th. Choose this or another option in your Amazon cart. To purchase this one, say buy it now.
Bye.
Hi. What are you doing?
I'm talking to Alexa.
Alexa's like the grandmother, so you can just get anything. You just ask her. And here's a kid who's asking Alexa to read him his favorite book.
Alexa, play Ticker.
Bobby, can you talk to play wheels?
You want to hear a station for porn detected. Porn media, amateur girl color sexy.
No. Alexa, stop.
Oh my God. I don't know. It's that's risky, huh?
All righty. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm going to steer clear of that Alexa. All righty, where is my good friend Kristen this morning? There she is. Good morning, Kristen. Do you have Alexa in your house?
Of course I have Alexa in my house. My kids are old enough now to know what to say and what not to say.
Well, there you go. That always helps.
Yep.
Take it away this morning.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So something actually came up this week. Actually, it comes up quite often. Gift funds for a purchase. I was speaking with a borrower who was asking about gift funds. It started because cash being put into a bank account is not an acceptable source of funds for us. And for most lenders, really, we can't do it. And he was trying to figure out a way. He took it out of his account as cash months and months ago, and then put it back into his account and said, well, it came out of my account and now it's going back into my account. And unfortunately, when that happens, we're unable to source it. It can't be, it's still a cash deposit, regardless of if it came out of his account months ago. So this was a conversation I had, and I said, the one thing that I offer for people, and I always, give people the option of, if you can get a gift from, somebody in your family. And I just wanted to quickly go through some of the acceptable sources of gift funds, acceptable donors, and this is for conventional and FHA. So the borrower's spouse, child, or dependent can gift you money. Individual related to the borrower by blood, marriage, or adoption, a guardian of the borrower, a person for whom the borrower is a guardian, borrower's fiance, and or a domestic partner. So those are suitable donors. So for example, like somebody's boss can't lend them the money. And that was a conversation that I had yesterday with a client. For FHA, we do need to see the donor's bank account. So when they give us the money, they put it into their account, and I always talk them through how to do it. They have to have a check. It can't be cash taken out and cash put in, because that becomes a major issue. So I'm very specific about how it needs to be done. There's gift letters. With the FHA loan, we need to see the donor's bank account for 2 months. And unfortunately, sometimes large deposits and things show up on the donor's account, and it turns into, a bigger deal, but we will, we manage it. But for conventional, for the most part, we don't need to see the donor's bank account. We just need the gift letter, and we need a check or a transfer into the borrower's account. And everything needs to be documentable. So I kind of go through that. And that's something that comes up quite often. There's a lot of people that get gifts, totally acceptable. It's just, it needs to be done in a certain way. So if you find that there's a borrower that you have that is looking to do something and they think they're going to get a gift from a family member, let me know, and we can kind of talk through it, just because like I said, it needs to be done in a certain way. And if, we find out halfway through the process that they're taking cash from somebody, or an FHA loan that they've given the person cash and the person deposits it, and then we have to see the deposit, it turns into a bigger deal than it should be. So anyway, I will leave my information in the chat, and if anybody has any questions for me, I am around as usual, always.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kristen. We appreciate that info. All righty. If you have
Ash
any
is not king in the
questions,
mortgage world. I like that.
and if you do have any additional questions on that topic, do reach out to Kristen directly. Kristen's going to put her info in the chat, so you can reach out to her directly on that. All right, quick announcements before we dive into our info for the day. Today at 12 noon, our profit share team does meet with your spectacular and ever interested in growing your wealth team leaders. So do make sure that 12 noon today, meeting with the profit share team is part of your day. I'm excited to see just how many people we have registered for Mega Camp. If that is not you at present, you know how every time you see the dentist, they kind of tell you over and over again to make sure that you're brushing and flossing. Well, consider me your Mega Camp dentist for the last week or so. And I will continue to do it throughout this week until Monday. Because if you're not registered, I'm going to encourage you that for your own good and for the health of your teeth, you should absolutely register for Mega Camp. Do note that the $129 price is valid for today and tomorrow at midnight tomorrow. So starting on Friday at 12:01, the price will jump up to $149. So if you're going to go anyway, you might as well just get yourself registered. Because next week is Mega Camp week, please note that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, we will not have our 9 a.m. Zoom. Monday and Friday will go off as normal. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we will not have our 9 a.m. Zoom. Instead, we will just jump into Mega Camp at the appointed Mega Camp time. All right. And Dan, do me a favor, type in megacamp.kw.com in the in the chat box in case people are unclear about where to go and get their flossing materials. All right, so two topics to discuss this morning. The first I bring to you with excitement and Christmas. I kind of can't believe that we're having this conversation again, to tell you the truth. And yet here we are, right? And so the first conversation is around some new rules around masking. For those of you who have been paying attention to, depending on where you live and work, municipality by municipality in the state of Connecticut, it's all kind of different. Everyone's making different decisions. The governor has not made any kind of mandate. He is instead leaving it up to local governments to make these rules, which means that it's a little bit chaotic, right? There's another term for that starts with an S, but I'll leave it to you to think about what I'm thinking right now. But that's kind of how it feels. And so what we know is that right now, as of today, there are a whole bunch of municipalities: Stamford, New Haven, Bridgeport, Norwalk, Ridgefield, Reading, Danbury, Brookfield, Bethel, Hartford, to name just a few of them. I'm likely forgetting a couple of them. But do recognize that all of those municipalities now have specific indoor mask mandates in place, right? As of this morning, anything that's happening on the inside, including restaurants, if you're not actually drinking or chewing food, you need to wear a mask in those municipalities. Please note, if you live and work in a municipality that I did not mention, there are a lot of things that are being discussed at all of those local levels about what the best right thing to do is. Right now, the government in Westport has gone on record saying that they highly encourage, it's not yet a mandate, but they highly encourage masks to be worn by all persons, vaccinated or not vaccinated. And again, these mandates are regardless of your vaccination status, right? This is now stepping half a step back to say, regardless of what's occurred with you and your ability and or desire to be vaccinated in the last 6 months or so, these new rules apply to everybody. So what does that mean? What it means is, out of again, an abundance of caution and to make sure that our first task is to keep all of you safe, knowing that we have a community of all of us that then go out and meet with the public. We have the public come in and meet with us. We're in that scenario where if there's something that could occur, we need to protect against it. So please note, effective today, and if for some reason you are wandering around without a mask today, effective tomorrow for you, our spaces are going to take, again, a half a step. I'm going to decide that it's a half a step forward instead of a half a step back, because it's a half a step forward towards never having to have this conversation again, right? And so we're taking a half a step forward to say that if, in fact, you are in a public part of any of our market center or business center locations, we will ask that you wear a mask. If you are inside of your own private personal space or office, not necessary. If that creates problems or issues for you based on the fact that you kind of like not to wear a mask and you live in those public spaces, please see your team leaders, because I am certain that in each of our spaces, we can make temporary accommodations for you, that when you're in the space, you can be someplace that you can either close a door or be by yourself and not have to worry about that masking requirement. So, but in any public spaces, and what that means specifically is any space that's not just you in a room, right? Unfortunately. And so, so that's where we are today. Do note that this started last week with a conversation around 2777 Summer Street in Stamford. That building in and of itself, because it lives in the city of Stamford, you need to wear a mask to get into the building. You need to be masked when you're in the elevators or on the stairs, ordering food in the lobby or in the bathrooms, right? And so the next half step forward on that is then we'll just extend that to public spaces in the office. At 404 Main Street in Ridgefield, that applies to, again, the whole building from the minute you walk in till the minute you walk out. Westport right now does not have any kind of rule for the building. However, we will enforce that rule in our space. Again, publicly, when you're in a public space, to be masked. If you need a breather from the mask and you want to step out into the hallway or into the bathroom there, there is no current requirement in the building in Westport, just in our space. And then in Newtown, the same, not necessarily the building, but in our space. And 27 Mill Plain Road in Danbury, because Danbury does have the mask mandate, that's going to be in the building and in our space. So that's where we are in terms of masks today. My hope is that is short-lived as we continue to move through to the other side of this. And yet, again, out of an abundance of caution, to make sure that many of you have small children, many of you have children who have not been vaccinated. And for the most part, a lot of this is being done right now to protect those who are unable to protect themselves. And so to do our part in all of that seems like the right thing to do, to keep you safe, your family safe, to make sure that we come out the other side to sell another house at another day. So we encourage you still to plug in, be in the office. And again, if there are struggles or issues with you and spacing and masking, please just talk to your team leader, and we will absolutely make sure that we have an opportunity for you to still utilize our office space and be compliant. And I did see that there was a question or a bunch of questions in the chat box, which I will go to real quickly now. Fiona asks, what should we be doing at our public open houses? So great question, Fiona. What's interesting is that regardless of where your public open house is being held, right? Public open houses are held in private residences. And so the mask mandates apply to public spaces, right? The local government can't tell you what to do in your own home. So that I will leave up to you and your seller to have a conversation. Again, what I'm doing right now is encouraging people to take that extra step of precaution, right? For many of us who have been vaccinated, it has kind of seemed like we're walking around with a big S on our chest, right? At least that's how I feel. It's like, come on, I dare you, right? But the idea of being a little bit cautious to make sure that we get through this next phase of what's going on does seem the more prudent path. So from a public open house perspective, have that conversation. And I encourage you, Fiona, thank you for putting it out there. I encourage each of you as listing agents just to have that conversation with your seller, right? Your sellers may not be proactively having it with you. I encourage you to have it with them, and then just follow whatever rules the seller decides for their space. And then just push that out to the public. I don't think anyone right now attending a public open house will be surprised if, in fact, they weren't wearing masks in someone else's home that they now may be asked to. I think it's just part of the world we're living in. So let me just make sure I got. Looks like you guys handled everything else in the chat. Thank you very much. In terms of our mega camp events, both in office and in the evening, as well as the capper cruise. Right now, everything is moving forward as planned. There may be more opportunities for us to do those events with masks on. However, we're not changing any of those events at present. So stay tuned for all of that. All right. If you have any other questions on masking, please just let me know. Email or text is the fastest way to get those answers. And let me do this. That took a little longer than I expected. And so I want to be certain that we get you out of here on time. So Adonis, I'm going to ask that we push Marty Miller to tomorrow, if that's all right. So we're going to skip Marty today because some of you are on here because of not necessarily the mask conversation, but because of the attorneys giving bad advice that I put out there. So I want to just throw this real quickly out there to you. In the last couple of weeks, I've had a number of conversations with a number of you where there was some conversation around advice that attorneys gave. And I just want to go on record as saying I respect each and every one of the attorneys that we choose to work with and that our clients choose to work with. However, I don't always agree with the advice that they give, and having respect for them and agreeing with them are two separate things. And so I wanted to just bring you a couple of quick bullet points about advice that we sometimes get from attorneys that I think we should be a little resistant to. The first piece of advice comes when the attorney makes a decision about perhaps not being upfront or honest around a scenario. I'll give you a quick example. An attorney who gives a seller advice that they accepted one offer and now they're going to dump that offer to go with a different offer. And part of the advice is, well, we'll just tell the first offer that we're no longer interested in selling the house. And then that gets pushed along to you, and you get advised to deliver that information, which is not truthful, to the other agent, right? I would encourage you to push back on that. I would encourage you to indicate to the seller and the attorney, I appreciate the fact that you want to move from one offer to the next. However, my path forward will be to tell the truth. So let's make sure that we're working the truth into that strategy. I'm happy to deliver the information, but I'll be delivering information that says that the seller has moved from one offer to another, right? Not some version that is a lie, right? So I know it seems silly to come on a Wednesday morning and say, do yourselves a favor and don't lie, even if you're encouraged to by an attorney. And yet, I thought it made sense to give you that example. So that's one example. Another example is this. Probably the most egregious thing that I've heard on bad attorney advice was last month when someone came to me and said, I have an oil tank issue and the seller is a widow. Her husband kind of handled everything. She's unclear as to whether or not she has documentation for this oil tank. And she got advice from her attorney that says, don't disclose it. Even though you know it's sitting in the ground, don't disclose it. And if anything ever comes up, what we'll do is just play the card of, I'm an old widow and I didn't know any better because my dead husband is the one who used to handle all of that. Okay, so yet again, we're in that same position of let's not be lying and let's not encourage our clients to lie. What I said to our agent in that scenario is, okay, so she told you that there's a buried oil tank right there under the driveway, right? Okay, well, so then the conversation is simple because you either get to resign from that listing or you have a proactive duty to make sure that everybody knows that that material fact of the buried oil tank is out there and disclosed, right? So just be careful when we're getting information or getting advice from attorneys that the advice from the attorney is not from the attorney to you, right? Because you don't get advice from your client's attorneys. If you have questions, you get advice from me, and we'll work through together how that may or may not jive with what the seller or the buyer is getting advice from their legal counsel, right? Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. Either is okay, and we'll just work out a strategy forward. And lastly, before I let you go today, I wanted to just make a comment on, because I get this question probably 3 times a week, especially in a fast-moving market. The forms that we write offers on, the offer to purchase, the purchase agreement, even the 4-page contract, how enforceable are they? How valid are they? If everyone has signed one of those 3 forms and something else comes in, what's the path we move forward with? And my advice to you is not to have an opinion on that. I know most of you want a yes or no answer to that. I will tell you, when it comes to the law, right, most aspects of the law live in the gray. Not the black or the white, not the yes or the no, it's right there in the middle. Right? And so what I want to encourage you to do is, in scenarios like that, simply have the client, whoever that client is, speak to their attorney And then if you think the answer is right or the answer is wrong, you get to have that go on in your head, but you get to follow the lawful instruction of the seller. If the seller gets bad advice from their attorney and then acts on that and asks you to act on that, well, that's okay. You can certainly challenge some of that conversation if you'd like, but the reality is they're not getting that advice from you or from me, right? So for those of you who are hoping for an answer to, are they enforceable, are they not? I'm not going to give you one because I don't give anybody an answer to that. And here's why. If you line up 100 attorneys, 50 of them will say they are, and 50 of them will say they're not. What attorneys count on is that the other attorney on the other side is not going to encourage their client to file a lawsuit. And so oftentimes that gives some attorneys the idea that these documents are not enforceable because they know that the other attorney is not going to advise their buyer client to enforce something. I will tell you, we're in a scenario right now where a seller made a decision to pull one offer after signing a document and go with another offer. Both buyers believe that they have a valid contract, and both buyers are now suing for specific performance of the document that they have signed by that seller. There's only one house. Neither buyer has given it up. Everyone's spending a whole lot of time, effort, and money defending this decision, right? And so what will happen in that scenario? Here's what will happen. At some point, one of the buyers will get bought off by the seller and the other buyer will proceed and close on the property. However, that means that the seller is now going to have to write a check to buy off one of the buyers. That's how that will go. Do you see how it's not clear? It's all in the middle there. So don't get caught in a conversation around whether it's enforceable or not. Push them to their attorney. Sorry, that is outside of the scope of what I am licensed to assist you with. Thank you, Greg Brown. And leave it at that. That's why they have their attorney. Guys, I hope this information was useful and helpful. I hope you're excited about taking a half step forward back into our masked world so that we can get out the other side and never, ever have to see masks again for as long as we all shall live. Have a fabulous day today, 12 noon profit share. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp. Have a great day.